Besides us putting in grades, half of us are not turning in work. Once again, we want to do that challenge and we put in, submit our 5, and it's easy. As I told you, well, you don't click a submit button. Just do the work during class. If you need to finish it at home, great. I give you more than enough time to finish it. And when I put in grades, a lot of us are not doing our work. So we can't do this. Can't have 7% of us turning in work if we're not even doing the work in class or outside of class. Let's look at slide number 2. We're going to be reviewing how neurons move, how neurotransmitters move throughout the neurons. That first step number 1, the message goes through that axon, that small sliver, towards the end of that neuron. Remember that neurons do not touch. So you have that, what is this thing? So you have that, okay. So you have that space is called synapse. And then the electricity moves the neuron. Okay, fine. Can't use that. Okay. Moves the neuron to the next neuron. And then on towards the brain or towards whatever chemoreceptor or photoreceptor is going on for that movement. For slide number 2, you were asked this question about how is it possible to control a robotic arm? Make sure you use 2 or 3 of the vocabulary terms listed at the bottom of your page for that. You have 7 minutes to answer that question. Once again, use 2 or 3 of the terms listed at the bottom of your page for slide number 2, and I'll be checking your work. So we should be on slide number 2. I see Erica started. Thank you, Howard. Thank you, Tavion. Everyone else, I don't know what's going on today. We should be on slide number 2, answering that question about controlling that robotic arm, following the directions. You should not be on slide number 1. You should be on slide number 2. This way, move your arm that way. So for those of us saying our stimulus is the electronic arm, it's not. If you just gave me half of it, where you're saying, okay, I have these messages that move through my body, I need the other half that tells me how does that make sure my arm moves? Why is that possible? Hint, hint. Remember, it's electricity. Okay, so how is it possible that we could hook up an electronic arm to your body and it still works? Here is the steps. So remember, the neurons do not touch. They have that gap, which is called a synapse. In order to keep a message moving through the nervous system, the message must cross that gap to the next neuron. The message is carried across the synapse by chemicals called neurotransmitters. So you're going to have another opportunity to answer this sort of question, but in this case, the question is going to ask you about how is it? Oh man, I should have spun out. If you touch something that's hot, what happens in the neural pathways to make you move your arm or your hand? So it should not be, oh, I touch up, my brain tells my arm to move, I move my hand. No. Neural is capitalized for a reason. You're going to have to now tell me, okay, what happens with your body? What happens inside of your body with the neurons to make you move? You have 7 minutes to answer that question. I'm still checking slides 2, and you should be on 3 by now. I see Faith typing, Howard's typing, Kylie, Kamaya, Malik, great. If you're still on slide 2, hopefully it's finishing up what you wrote and going on to slide 3.